Welcome to the Wealth Insights Podcast, a podcast series where wealth conversations come to life because it's all about insights and not hindsight. Today, we are joined by a very special guest. She has worked with multinationals like Microsoft, McKinsey, and AQR Capital Management. In India, she set up the first hedge fund, Forefront Capital Management. At the age of 34, she became the youngest CEO at Edelweiss Mutual Fund. Welcome, Radhika Gupta. Hello, Radhika.
Thank you, Vinay. Thank you for having me here. Well, it's a beautiful location in BKC. I love the format and I'm assuming I'm going to get to eat some food. So I'm quite excited about that.
So, as you can see, when starters, so if we kickstart our conversation, when you start your journey, whether you're a seasoned investor or you're just starting your journey, how do you build your portfolio?
So I think when you're a new investor or you're starting your journey, it's very important to know yourself. I think similar to food, it's important to know your body, your tastes, because investing, like anything in life, is very, very personal. So it's really important to know yourself, what your likes are, what your dislikes are, what your tolerance for something like risk is, for instance. So I always say that you don't have to jump into the deep end of the pool and do 100% of equity on day one. You taste a little bit of it, add it as an appetizer in your portfolio, maybe 10%, maybe 20%, get comfortable with the ups and downs, and gradually it's a larger part of your palate, so to say. So know yourself, start gradually, and then if you have to experiment with anything, you always experiment with it in small quantums. So even in my portfolio, when I experiment with new funds or ideas, I won't do a huge SIP on day one. I'll start something small, see how it's going, see how I'm getting comfortable, and then there's always time to take it up.
Yeah, before we dig into, maybe you could try the Kotambi Vadi.
It's got this sabudana thing going.
Yeah.
You should also try and...
Even in investing world, it's quite complex. There are a lot
it's very complex.
and unknown risks. So when you're an investor, how do you drown out this noise? Because there'll be surprises in your investing journey.
So I think what's very important is to have a basic anchoring. You know, in life, in food and investing, there's a basic anchoring that forms the core of your portfolio. And I think that core portfolio comes from asset allocation.
Okay.
Asset allocation gives you that anchoring that, you know, these are my goals, this is my risk appetite. And broadly, I'm 40% equity, 30% debt, 10% international, 20% gold. And there can be movement around this, but this is my basic goal post. Then when a new product comes, then when there's some form of complexity, it will move around that anchor. But if you don't have an anchor of asset allocation, then what happens is the tendency is, oh, new fund in the market, let me do this.
Yes.
New fund in the market, let me do this. And all of a sudden, actually, you have no anchor and, you know, suddenly you have 30, 35 funds in your portfolio and there's a big mess. So I always tell investors, start with an asset allocation, have 4-5 categories of products that you want to be invested in, and build everything else around that. That's very, very important.
So when you're talking also of asset allocation and building around those concepts which are there, when we are talking of food also, portion sizing becomes very important. Do you see parallels of that in the investing world also?
Well, I mean, the Indian analogy I always give is that investing in an asset allocation is a bit like building your own thali. You know, if you look at thalis as a proxy, there are thalis all over the country. But the thali in the north is very different from the thali of Andhra or the thali of Tamil Nadu or the thali of Odisha, because there are different realities for different geographic conditions, different weather, different climate. And even within a thali, you and I can have very different thalis because you may need a gluten-free diet and I may not need a gluten-free diet. I may need a high-protein diet.
Yeah.
So finally, the components are the same. Everybody has debt, everybody has gold, everybody has equity, everyone has the same components. But how you play those components and the portions you want to have really depend on you as an individual. And I think the worst mistake you can make is to copy someone else's plate. Each plate really has to be individual because the human body, financially and food-wise, is very, very different.
Even when we are talking of portion sizing, how do you look at portion sizing in the eyes of investing when we talk about systematic investing like SIP, STP, SWP? Is that a sort of a portion sizing also which you do in investments?
I think that's a great regulation. So, the good thing, I love SIPs, STPs, etc. In fact, people often ask me in times of crisis, how do I handle my funds? I say I don't do anything else. I just let my SIPs do the work. I think systematic things, plans, transfers, SWPs, all of that, they make investing a lot more automated. So SIPs get you into an automatic savings habit, just like there are good food habits, right? Good fitness habits. There are good investing habits. So I always tell people SIPs are like investment deducted at source. Like this tax deducted at source, there's investment deducted at source. It gets you into the habit. STP is a great way to take out regular cash flow. And I think habits are a very, very powerful thing.
So we've started with some of the starters, and I'm looking forward now to what we call the main course.
Yeah, I'm really excited about what you're going to feed me in the main course. This Kothmir Vadi is outstanding.
Yeah. Why don't we even have some of the curry?
Yeah, I'll have some of that too. There you go. I'm going to do this neatly. There you go. It's very nice.
So Radhika, this has really whet my appetite. As you can see, the starters were a good segue into our next section. Which
Yes, I ate half of this, so I'm excited about the
I
course.
like the kalesas.
I really like the food.
So as they're cleaning up the plates and as we move into the main course, one of the key questions which we get asked always is, as you're doing an analogy to staple diet, what would be a core allocation for an investor, and would it be in mutual funds?
So I do think that mutual funds, even though you call me biased because of my profession, I do think mutual funds are the staple diet, the so-called dal chawal of investing, the real core that is your ghar ka khana that you have every day. And even within mutual funds, certain categories of mutual funds, a certain set, your basic equity, your basic hybrid funds, a couple of debt funds, a couple of international funds if you are involved. This to me forms your core portfolio. It's staple because it's all weather, like all weather food. It's simple. It's accessible to everybody. It's cost efficient. It's transparent. So it has everything that staples require. Affordable, digestible, timeless.
But it's also very, like with the categorization, right? We have nearly 43 categories of mutual funds.
Of them.
So how will an investor choose with that? Because you have so many different ways of choosing, right? When we are talking of equities, you have styles like growth, value, momentum. If you're talking of debt, I can take credit, I can take income, I can take duration. So how do you build on that concept then?
So I think there are hundreds of restaurants in Mumbai, right? But you don't go to, every new one.
Yes.
So I think within mutual funds, what you need is 80% of your portfolio should be a couple of core categories of mutual funds. For aggressive investors, it could be multi-cap and flexi-cap, maybe mid and small cap, arbitrage fund for consistency, international, maybe gold. For more conservative investors, it could be balanced advantage or multi-asset, one of these hybrid funds, plus maybe a little bit of flavor of mid-cap, international, and fixed income. 80% of your portfolio is these core categories. Within each category, like if you've decided aapko Japanese khana hai, you pick two chefs. Now, you talked about different styles. Like when I pick mid-cap fund, one of the funds I'll pick is our own fund. But the second fund I'll pick is some manager who's doing mid-cap with a slightly different style. So there's often a myth that diversification is just having lots of different things going on. It's having things with different styles. The balance 20%, as you said, you can experiment with all the categories in the world. But I think people spend too much time obsessing over 20% and don't put enough effort on their staples. So it's very important to get your staples, your 5 core categories, right? And just ignore the 30-35 other categories that there are out there.
As you were saying, I think...
Let me just help them,
there.
Okay.
One of the things also, which as you mentioned, it's quite complicated, but we can simplify it with the category. So let's also have a little bit more fun.
Yes, let's go for it.
There is a section which I want to do this or that.
This or that, okay.
It's the sort of a quick take we want to do. So, starting with food.
Starting with food.
Indian food or continental?
So I love all kinds of food, as you can probably tell, but on most days, 80% of the diet is Indian food. I'm a dal chawal, dal roti, sabzi roti kind of girl. So that's it.
Second, which you're passionate, active or passive mutual funds?
Both. I really think it's like picking between fine dining and fast food. There are days I want fast food, simple, predictable, cheap. And there are occasions where I want active. I mean, frankly, my portfolio is about 60% active, 40% passive. So I don't think there's a choice.
A little controversial. Real estate or mutual fund?
Mutual fund. That one is clear. I think real estate, primary home is not an investment. I like liquid stuff, so that's easy.
Okay. Now, short term or long term?
Long term, and long term. You have to survive the short term and absolutely long term.
And last one, either you focus on your investing career or focus on your dream career.
I think my dream career is my investing career. So there's no really choice there. But I really think, and it's a little away from our conversation, investing is important, but it is passive income. The greatest return you get on an asset, especially when you're young, is on your talent, on your time. So really, highest ROI on your talent and time. And as we start eating some food,
Yes.
let's eat. All right.
Don't you try?
I'm going to try risotto because I love risotto.
What's your investment mantra?
I do have a mantra, but I'm not sure I should reveal it till the end of the meal. What do you think?
Yes, actually, we will continue this maybe in the next episode.
Oh, let's do that. India is not the only story in town. Rupee depreciation is a factor you have to think about, and international investments can give you that protection. People get so excited by the exotics in life that they forget that they have risks.
Is there something still left?
I love dessert.
What is a mantra? Stay tuned for the next episode.